I'm Mike Van Veghel. I'm the athletic trainer here at Madison College. I also work for the UW Health Sports Medicine Clinic, primarily in their sport rehabilitation clinic. I'm here pretty much every day, and my role here is to take care of the health of our student athletes and provide medical coverage for all of the athletic events that we host. Most concussions happen due to some sort of contact or collision, either with another athlete, an object, or the ground. And it doesn't necessarily have to involve a direct blow to a person's head. Usually what the critical factor is the amount of inertia, meaning the amount of acceleration and sudden deceleration that results in the forces that result in concussive type episodes that can be delivered to the head and to the brain specifically. I think one of the nice things we have within our facility is we're very comprehensive in how we manage them. So nobody ever works in silos in our facility when we're dealing with concussions. So we have frontline providers like myself who are at schools dealing with athletes on a daily basis in their environment. We have physicians who have special training in not only general sports medicine, but the management and diagnosis and the care that goes along, not only with an initial concussion, but with the symptoms that can sometimes persist after a concussion occurs. We have psychologists, we have neuropsychologists, and we certainly have physical therapists who specialize in some of the aspects of concussion that we often don't think about. Because usually we think about headache and how a person is feeling, but we don't think about things like balance and coordination and visual acuity and just processing and cognitive functioning, which is what's necessary for school. The other thing that we do know is that if a person has a concussion, they're more likely when they get back into their sport to suffer another type of an injury like an ankle sprain or a knee injury. So we kind of look not just at the specific concussive symptoms and how the athlete is feeling. We look at all aspects of brain function, and then we certainly look at other factors that might make them at risk for another injury that's tied to that. Some of those things are really tough to measure. So we're coming up with better tools to measure brain function. The other thing that is emerging, and I just read a study yesterday that was kind of fascinating. Just by chance, two researchers at a conference met. One is a specialist in nanotechnology, and what they are doing is using nano particles to capture proteins in saliva. So essentially it's a spit test. And what they found is that if somebody receives or sustains a concussion, there are certain proteins that are released into your bloodstream, which ultimately make its way into your saliva. So they're looking at new ways of trying to assess an athlete after they've maybe sustained a blow that, whoa, that looks like they might have received a concussion, or that hit looked like it could have caused a concussion. So we're trying to come up with ways where we can look for more information from a physiological standpoint. Not just simply asking, how's your headache today, but okay, spit in this cup. We're going to assess to see if there's any unusual brain proteins that are showing up in your saliva. So a lot of that stuff and a lot of the newer imaging techniques are still in the research and development stage. So it's a long ways away from that type of thing showing up on a sideline of a soccer or football game. But there are people that are looking at ways to best diagnose it, to best diagnose recovery, and then to best game plan how to get an athlete back safely. I will say that as people have become more aware of it, one of the things that has happened because of that is athletes are more willing to reveal their symptoms that they're having if they've received a blow and they've maybe have sustained or suffered a concussion. You know, for many years, especially in male-dominated sports, there's always kind of the stigma of, well, if you get hit and you come out right away after a big hit, you're kind of soft. And, you know, oh, it's just getting your bell rung type of a thing, you're fine. I think now, based on the education that's required as part of, you know, the state laws that have emerged in terms of how concussions information needs to be disseminated and how athletes and parents need to be educated, I think that's kind of put a little bit of a damper on kind of the ego aspect of sport And people are realizing that, you know, concussion isn't just getting your bell rung, it's a brain injury, and it can have long-term consequences if you don't take it seriously. So I do think when people are more revealing, we'll see a spike or an increase in the number of concussions that we can count across the course of a season or a year, simply because more people are forthcoming with it. But certainly if we have better means of detecting it, whether it's an extra set of eyes, you know, watching the game, so if an athletic trainer or coach is busy and they didn't see exactly what happened, if somebody up in the press box did, they can radio down and say, hey, check on number 52, he just got hit pretty hard. And then certainly if we have newer, really easy to implement and relatively inexpensive technologies that anybody can access, it's only going to make us better at the whole process of recognizing it and then certainly managing it.